We are here at Photokina 2010 talking to Dominic Papenheim, the head of Direct Export Area, and Claudia Baehr, the section manager for digital SLR and pen systems, both from Olympus. We have a few questions for you regarding some of the new products that Olympus have brought to the market, as well as some general questions about Olympus and its plans. Let me just start by asking a question about the products that Olympus introduced here at Photokina. Can you tell us a bit about those new products?
Yeah, basically one product that we launched for the Photokina is the E5. The E5 is the successor of the E3. And the basic concept for the E5 is made for extreme. You can also see it outside of our booth. We have an extreme area where we really show that the camera is dust-proof, so you can use it under extreme condition. And the good thing is it's also splash-proofed. I think it was already proven by the E3, and the same we also built in here. And it has a very, very rough body. I think you also showed it this morning. We really can step on, so this is no problem. It's really made for rough condition. There are some changes to the E3. In the E3 we had a 10 megapixel sensor. Here we have now a 12 megapixel sensor. And we have a very, very big LCD screen. We had 2.7 inch before, we have now 3 inch.
Which is also higher resolution, if I remember correctly.
With also
and swivel, huh? And swivel.
And swivel.
You can swivel it around and...
Yeah. And also this one is splash proofed. And this is quite important, I think, for the professional market. What is also the key for the professional market is image quality. And the sensor is the same as we have in the pen, and there's a new process engine inside. So we call it TruePic Turbo 5, and now we have TruePic Turbo 5 Plus inside. And it has a very, very fine detail reproduction. And we already have first test result from independent test lab, and it really praises the image quality what's inside. Also very important for this type of camera is the speed. And we had the world fastest speed in the combination with the E3 and the 12 to 60 millimeter lens. And again, here we have the world fastest speed with the E5 and the 12 to 60 millimeter lens. Because autofocus is next to image quality really one of the key. And we also implement some nice features that we had from the E30 and also from the pen. We have now art filters inside. And art filters in the beginning, we were not so sure if this is accepted in the market, and it's quite well accepted in the market, because a lot of pros can do it afterwards in the software.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
go to Photoshop, then they do it, but here you can see the effect directly before you make the image, and for them it's much, much easier. There's no need for any after processing time, post-processing. They can see it directly. These art filters we already know from pen type cameras, but we have one new inside, and this is called dramatic tone. It's a little bit going in the HDR direction, HDR, high dynamic range photography. Yeah. It is done only with one image, but thanks to the very powerful new engine that we have inside, you can have great effects. And we show outside some examples, especially when you have cloudy sky, then you have really dramatic tone, what it is in the end. Really impressive images. And we were also not so sure how this is accepted by the professional, but the one who already saw this, and also DP Revi, for example, were very impressed by this one. Cool. Last thing that's a key here, we have now also HD movie, 720p, also in this camera. This is for us the first SLR camera where we also show movie function.
Okay. Here is a question basically regarding this type of camera. A lot of professional photographers are currently using full frame cameras, not even, APS-C type sensors. Now, this camera is based on a sensor which is micro four thirds, which is your standard together with Panasonic. Do you think that this is enough for professional photographers in terms of the size of the sensor?
Yes, we think so. I think we developed the micro four, or the 4/3 and micro 4/3 has the same sensor side. We developed this from the scratch. We really start with a white paper and said, okay, what is the best in terms of size and also in terms of image quality? And that's the reason why the 4/3 sensor was coming up. And if we see the latest test result and also the comparison with the full frame, we can see that we are at the same level. So we definitely think it's enough. And I think I can tell you it's the same, but better take test sample images and convince yourself. Because, yeah.
Okay. We have tested the EPL1 a few months ago, and one of the problems that we ran into was that the focusing speed was not too fast. Even after we have updated the firmware, it was faster, probably around 25% faster. I think this was what you've said, but it was still slower than maybe the GF1, the Panasonic GF1. How do you see this problem, and do you have intentions of maybe updating it again in the next firmware or maybe in the next camera?
Basically, in the firmware we cannot update this anymore, but we develop new lenses. I think this was the old 14 to 42 millimeter lens,
yes.
But we have now announced new lenses, the 9 to 80 millimeters, the 14-150, now newly the 40-150 and the 75 to 300 millimeter, and all has a new mechanism inside. We call it MSD, movie and still compatible, and there are two big advantages. One is the speed, because there's a new mechanism to really make it more accurate and quicker, and the other big advantage is noise. Because the problem, especially when you want to use movie, is that it's very noisy when you focus and when you zoom. And both are eliminated, and I really recommend to use one of these new lenses now, because there you can see that it's pretty much improved already.
This is very important what you're saying, because I think that what we have when we have tested, this was actually one of our next questions. We have tested the camera. We saw that there was a problem with video when you have all sorts of noise, or not exactly noise, but problems when you take the video and zoom in and zoom out. So maybe with the new lenses, this is going to be eliminated.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of your current line is based on compact cameras. Now, today we have a situation where on the one hand you have cell phones which have cameras with better and better resolution, and probably the cameras themselves are getting better, and on the other side you have mirrorless cameras like the Olympus Pen and maybe from other manufacturers who are bringing more quality into compact bodies. Now, how do you think that the compact market is going to change maybe in the next year or two, maybe even further, because of these both two market changes?
Let me maybe take over this answer. We believe that compact cameras indeed are getting a commodity, and there is some users that are sufficiently equipped with a mobile phone. However, if you really want to do photography, I think we are all clear that the compact camera still is the first level of product you would need. We are currently planning our lineup for next year, and there is a lot of new features which are not in a mobile phone, which we will incorporate next year into our new compact cameras. So I believe there is a lot of new technologies. I'm sure you have seen 3D, Wi-Fi, GPS, things like that we're looking into to incorporate in our compact cameras. So we believe that there is a great future, but for photography in general and compact cameras itself. There is, of course, a differentiator between compact cameras and SLR cameras,
obviously,
and eventually mirrorless systems. However, I think for a lot of people, a compact camera is far enough in order to capture moments, memories, and nice moments with an output that is far above any mobile phone. Because at the end of the day, if you want to do a nice capture of your moments in an image,
you don't need more than that.
You need more than a mobile phone,
yeah.
But maybe you don't need a camera like this, which we've seen here. So we believe that there are a lot of new technologies that can be incorporated and will be incorporated.
And maybe a little addition to mirrorless cameras, because we also did an internal market survey with an external partner, and we just wanted to know if there is a market for and who is our target group. And we asked not professionals, we really asked female persons just from the street, and there it turned out that a lot of people really know what a qualified image is, and they know that DSLR images are great. but they never wanted to use an SLR camera because for them it's so intimidating. It looks like a status symbol, especially female do not really want to touch it.
And it's very big.
It's very big, and that's the reason why we really see a big advantage in mirrorless, because it's much smaller, because the mirror is not in anymore, and that's also the reason why Olympus is following this ease of use concept, that there's no need of any photographic knowledge and you can make good images with.
Okay. You recently have done something which we think is a very brave move, and you have declared your roadmap for next year's lenses. What made you do this move, which is, I think, quite unique between camera manufacturers?
Basically, we would like also to show a little bit the direction where we would like to go. And one thing that I just mentioned, it's very important to have cameras with the ease of use concept and a good quality, but we also would like to say that it's not everything. We will build up in the future a whole lineup, and that's the reason why we push forward and say that more is to come.
Here is a question which has to do with our Israeli readers. In some of your cameras you've introduced, most of your compact cameras, you've introduced menus in Hebrew. Now, this was a very, nice move and was very well accepted. Do you have plans to introduce Hebrew menus in your pen line as well?
I'm glad that you mentioned this, because this has been certainly one of our advantages in Israel. That Olympus speaks Hebrew, and we have taken a long way to introduce this into our compact cameras. I believe this is also one of the success factors in Israel, and we're certainly looking into the matter in our pen type cameras. I can't give you any dates yet, but I'm pretty sure that we will follow the same strategy.
So we should expect this,
yes,
probably in the future. That's very good news.
Not only the firmware, but we're currently also developing the bundled software with it. There's a bundled software, IB software, which we have on our compact cameras, and that will be also available in Hebrew.
Okay. Another question regarding 3D, actually. Panasonic recently introduced a 3D lens into its line of lenses. Does Olympus have any interest of doing something similar?
I think at the moment we are developing in a lot of different directions that we cannot announce as of today.
Okay.
The good thing is that the Panasonic lens is also micro four third, and you can also use it for the EPA1.
Okay. Probably the last question that I would like to ask you is has to do with the differences between different markets. Actually, as far as we understand, in Japan, the mirrorless market is growing very rapidly, while in Europe it's a bit slower, and I'm not sure exactly what is going on in the US. What can you say about this, and what do you think is the actual differences between maybe the cultures which makes this such a huge difference in terms of actual market?
We are really following these data on a weekly basis. We really would like to see how this pen tab category or mirrorless category is developing and how quickly, because we also have to do our marketing plans and see what is the potential behind. If we take a look in the Asian market, especially Japanese market is really at the first level. They have a market share at the moment of pen type category already of 40%. Ooh. And this shows us a little bit the direction where it's going, because normally they are, from the technology point of view, really the trendsetter. If we're taking a look at Europe, we are at the moment at 9%. Okay. But this is really growing massively, especially also after Sony announced their mirrorless category. And we can see it's not only us saying that this is the future of the market, yes, also the other manufacturers are stepping in. In America, it's very similar to Europe at the moment. I think they have a share of 7 to 8%. Okay. I think it just takes a little bit more time than in Japan, but I think Japan shows us where the future will be.
So Japan is basically the setting us the road for the future.
Yes, right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.